This is the story of the Hart family. Sarah and her wife, Jennifer Hart, decided that they wanted to have some kids, so they fostered a 15-year-old girl. They told her that they were going to keep her as their daughter at least until she turned 18. Soon after, they started to talk about wanting to adopt these 3 siblings. They talked to the 15-year-old. They said, we're going to be this big happy family. They were all really excited about it. Then a week before the adoption took place, they took the 15-year-old to her therapy appointment, and they just never picked her up again. They left her there, like for good. They just packed up all her stuff and took her to the therapy appointment without telling her that they were never coming back, and they just left her. How traumatic is that? So they adopted these 3 kids, and they were all siblings. They were Abigail, Hannah, and Marcus. A few years later, in 2008, for some reason, they decided to adopt 3 more siblings: Sierra, Devontae, and Jeremiah. So now Jennifer and Sarah have 6 kids, and their favorite thing to do with their kids was to take photos and post it on their Facebook. They loved telling everybody, especially their family and friends, how great they were for saving all of these children. They went to a lot of these sort of new age festivals, got a lot of photos and videos of them as a big family. They went to Black Lives Matter's protests and again brought all of the kids along. And that's actually where Devontae got into the national spotlight. He would wear these free hugs signs, and one particular photo went viral of him crying, embracing a police officer, and the ladies loved the attention from this. Meanwhile, though, the reality was awful. They were abusing the kids. They were depriving them of food. They were beating them sometimes. They wouldn't even let them laugh. They would make them raise their hand before speaking. One of the kids' teachers at school saw that she had some bruises and asked her about it, and the kids said that, yeah, sometimes she got beaten with a belt. When the kids' teachers started to notice things, that's when they decided to pull the kids all out of school and to just homeschool them. They also started to move around a little bit so that nobody would really know what was going on, I guess. One day in 2017, one of the kids, in the middle of the night, climbed down from the 2nd story and ran to the neighbors for help. So now we're at the point where one of the children has managed to sneak out of the house in the middle of the night and went to a neighbor begging for help. She said to the neighbor, please don't make me go back to that house. They're racist, they're abusive. And for some reason, the neighbors didn't want to get involved. Hannah was taken back to the home, and the next day, Jennifer tried to explain, just saying, oh, she was just kidding. The kid was lying. They apologized and made the kid write out this letter saying, you're so kind, sorry to bother you. Jennifer told the neighbors, oh, these kids are all just drug babies, so ignore what they say. They don't know what they're talking about. A little bit later, Devontae went over to the same neighbors and said, my sister was telling the truth. We are being abused, please, and severely neglected. They were all very underweight. And he said, can you at least please just give us a little bit of food and we can sneak it? So the neighbors agreed to give them little care packages of food, and they would leave it by the fence so the moms wouldn't find out. Thankfully, the neighbors eventually did go to the police over this. So social services went to go investigate. They went several times to go and talk to the family and to investigate, but no one answered the door. So they just kind of weren't able to find out what was happening. A few days later, the worst happened. March 26, 2018, Jennifer and Sarah put all of the kids into their vehicle, no seatbelts, and went for a drive. Jennifer drove them off a 100-foot cliff. The vehicle landed on its roof. There were no survivors. Most of the bodies were recovered, not all of them in one piece, and Devontae's body was actually never found. They were able to analyze the SUV's sort of internal computer or whatever, and they noted that she never braked. I mean, it wasn't an accident. She accelerated off this cliff, most likely because they knew that they were going to be in trouble for abusing these kids. Maybe they were over their heads. Maybe they couldn't afford it. Maybe it was, too much for them to handle. Just so sad for these children who had to go through so much in their young lives. And let me know what you think.